Alright, so the under 15,000 segment is one of the most heated segments in the Indian smartphone market, and these two are one of the best phones that you can buy. It's the Realme 9 versus the Poco M4 Pro, both the 5G variants. The question is, which one is the right pick for you? And well, that's what this video is all about. We've already read the title, you've seen my intro, I'm not gonna waste a lot of time into that. Let's just jump right into the comparison. This is one from GTR, and let's get started. Alright, so first things first, let's start by talking about the design here. And honestly, they're both very flashy designs, both in their own ways. Like Poco has this thing that just flashes right out of the box with this fresh, young, inspiring look, as the brand likes to call it. While Realme has this gradient finish, like if you do not have light shining on it, it looks very premium and subtle. If you have light shining on it, it has this rainbow gradient forming on it. It just looks very inspiring and very amazing. Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I think I like both of them in their own ways. So yeah, as a consumer, you can decide which kind of a design you like better. But yeah, they're both unique and amazing looking in their own ways. Now, the in-hand feel of both the devices is pretty good, and they both are about the same weight, so no complaints there. The Poco M4 has one slight advantage in the fact that it is IP53 rated, while Realme has no such ratings. The Poco offers a 3.5 headphone jack, plus an IR blaster, plus a hybrid SIM card slot, while Realme only has to settle with a 3.5 headphone jack and a 2+1 SIM card slot. Moving on to 5G support, they're both 5G devices, like I said, though Poco has support for 2 extra bands, so that's good. So yeah, so far there hasn't been a lot to separate between the two devices. Like I always say, design is subjective, and once you decide on the design you want, they both offer pretty much the same package. Speaking of offering the same package, we have the display up next, and they both come with a 6.6-inch IPS LCD panel with 90Hz refresh rate. They both support wideband L1, although there's no support for HDR here. And to be honest, they're basically the same devices. Now, in our testing, Poco's display did seem a little bit less brighter in comparison, though it could be an issue with our unit since Poco claims that the peak brightness is similar to that of Realme. Now, one advantage that Poco has is that it comes with stereo speakers, while Realme has a mono speaker. As a result, Poco's audio output is not only louder but also a bit more crisper, which basically aids in your content consumption. Alright, so moving along, let's talk about the cameras. Now, Poco comes with a dual camera setup, which is a 50MP primary sensor and an 8MP ultra-wide sensor, while Realme offers a triple camera setup, at least on paper, where the primary camera is a 48MP and then you have those two useless sensors. They both come with a 16MP selfie shooter, but honestly, what is Realme doing? I seriously don't understand this trend of removing ultra-wide sensors on their devices. It's just stupid. I mean, nobody cares about depth sensors. Nobody cares about those 2MP macro sensors. I mean, if you want to put a macro sensor, use something like what Xiaomi used to use, those 5MP macro sensors that are actually usable. But removing ultra-wide sensor makes no sense. At least on paper, this is a far more practical camera setup. I mean, sure, it tries to look like a quad camera setup, has actually just 2 sensors, but those sensors are actually useful, and as a consumer, that is what matters more to me. Anyway, let's move on to the camera performance. Now, in daylight shots, Poco has more contrast and slightly better detailed shots. Not by a massive margin, but it's definitely more detailed. Now, Realme tends to saturate colors, especially the greens. In comparison, Poco is far more balanced. Now, moving on to HDR, I think I would pick Realme's shots here since the dynamic range is better highlighted here. And even for low light shots, Realme is better. Better details and comparatively less noise. Moving on to selfies, they're both equally good. Lastly, we have videos, and while both the phones support only 1080p, Realme is capped at just 30fps while Poco does 60fps. So that's one slight advantage for Poco, I guess, which is surprising considering they both come with the same processor. So let's talk about the performance. Like I said, they both come with the same MediaTek Dimensity 810 processor. Now, Poco offers UFS 2.2 storage, while Realme offers UFS 2.1 storage. And in terms of benchmarks, you can see on your screen, there's not a lot separating both the devices, and in some instances, while Realme outshines, in some instances, Poco wins. So yeah, at the end of the day, be it real world usage or gaming, both the devices work pretty much the same, and you won't have any complaints in terms of performance from either device. Of course, the software plays a very crucial role when it comes to performance, and both the devices come with their own custom skins. The Realme 9 comes with Realme UI 2.0, while Poco comes with MIUI 12.5, and they're both based on Android 11. Interestingly, they're both outdated. Like Realme has the Realme UI 3.0 version available out there, which is available on the Realme 9 Pro Plus, and Poco, which basically Xiaomi, has MIUI 13 rolling out, but isn't available there on the Poco M4 Pro 5G. Also, the brands have said that Android 12 update will be coming soon. There's no word on that from either brand, which is again disappointing. Now, as far as the comparison between Realme UI and MIUI 12 goes, it's basically your choice. They're both overloaded with features. They're both pretty stable on these units. And yeah, I mean, you can't really go wrong with either. Just make your pick on the kind of design language you prefer. Next up, we have the battery life, and you get the same 5000 mAh battery on both. However, Poco has a faster 33 watt charger, while Realme has just 18 watts. Now, although Poco wins this one easily, I'm not surprised by that. What I am surprised by is the fact that Realme is actually offering 18 watts of charging. Seriously, I mean, that's kind of a bummer considering it's Realme we're talking about. A brand that just last year launched a phone under rupees 15,000 that came with 65 watts of fast charging. So I don't know what they're doing with this one, but 33 watts is the bare minimum that I would expect from any brand right now under rupees 15,000. Which brings us to the pricing. Now they're both starting at rupees 15,000 and you can see the exact prices for all of their variants on your screen right now. So which one to pick? I mean, they're both great devices, but if you had to ask me to pick one out of these, I think I would slightly pick the Poco M4 Pro 5G simply because I feel it offers more value for money thanks to, well, it's actually usable secondary sensor like the ultra-wide sensor and faster charging speeds. Now that is not to say that the Realme 9 is a bad device. In fact, I personally always prefer Realme UI over MIUI. So that's one thing. And also this thing doubles up as a professional and a flashy device, while Poco always remains a flashy device. But like I said, design is always subjective. So yeah. And well, that was it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to let us know by giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more awesome tech content. Till then, this is One from GTR, and I'll see you in the next one.